Hi guys, the topic that we want to talk about today is how do you spice up your love life? And so we get asked this question a lot. We get a lot of messages with people wanting relationship guidance, and one of the number one topics that they want discussed is how do you spice up your love life when you've been with someone for a really long time? You know, how do you maintain that passion, or how do you actually reignite that passion that you once had within your relationship? And so we thought it would be really good today just to share with you some tips how you can actually achieve that. And so, you know, there's so many different ways that you can do it, and we're going to show you what works for us, but we really want you guys to work out, well, you know, what works for you, and, you know, how can you actually get that passion, you know, back into your relationship that you once had.
Yeah, with Natalie and I, it's always been a very important part of our relationship to make sure we're very strong on the intimacy side of things. We all know what it's like when you first meet your partner, and it's pretty wild and very passionate, and you know, as time goes on, whether it's just the timing, it slows down a bit and kids get involved and work, and we all know these things sort of get in the way. But with Natalie and I, it was very important that we put in place some tips and tools even early on in our relationship, because we were very conscious of the fact that we wanted to keep that passion there, because we always want to feel that feeling that we get when we first meet someone, and we always used to discuss how we never wanted that to go away. So Natalie's going to give you some tips of what we use, but one of the most things that we do as a couple is just having that communication with your partner, and letting them know what makes you happy, and what your needs are, and make sure that there's an open line of communication.
And so, you know, one of the very first things that I get a lot of my clients to do is to actually sit down with your partner and make a list, both of you make a list of the 5 things that you really need within a relationship. So your basic 5 needs that you need met. And so the most important thing is that, you know, you're open to whatever it is that your partner, you know, wants and needs. And, you know, it's really important that you try and, you know, meet your partner's needs. So if you're struggling, you know, to do that for whatever reason, you know, you're struggling to maybe be intimate with your partner, you know, it might be a really good idea to get to the bottom as to why you are struggling in that area. Because intimacy is such a big part in a relationship. And if you don't have that connection, the passion does tend to die. And so what I tend to find is that if I can help my clients, you know, find out why they don't want to be intimate with their partner, and this goes both ways. So, you know, if your husband doesn't want to be intimate with you, or you're not wanting to be intimate with your partner, you need to get to the bottom as to why. It could simply be, you know, that you've lost the passion because you're not connecting on that level. And so if you've got resentment towards your partner, I think it's really important that you know, work on clearing that, and, you know, find yourself a counsellor or a therapist or somebody who can actually help you let that resentment go, because sometimes you hold on to resentment towards your partner for whatever reason. You know, there could have been some issues in the relationship that haven't been healed, and so you tend to be a little bit resentful towards them and less likely to want to be intimate. So intimacy is such an important part of a relationship, and, you know, whatever you have to do to try and, you know, heal that, so that you can, you know, have that communication there, so that you can, you know, get that intimacy back in your relationship. And, you know, once your intimacy is back there, the passion actually can start to, you know, really get back to where it was when you first met.
Yeah, early on in our relationship, when I only like going through the new relationship exciting period, I remember like talking to peers at work and so forth, just saying, oh, how it's awesome, I'm going to a new partner and everything's great. And one of the most common things that they used to say to me is, oh, give it time, mate, give it time. I only get action every 3 months these days. It's a horrible existence. And they used to really make me think, hang on, what's going on here? And after talking, and the most common theme I used to get back from them is that they just weren't prepared to do anything for their partner, to spice that up. And they really weren't interested, but they couldn't figure out why their partner, you know, wouldn't be intimate with them for such long periods of time. And I'm not afraid to admit that, you know, I put in the work, and Natalie's got needs as a person, and, you know, as my partner. And it's, you know, if you're going to take the line of just worrying about yourself and and being a selfish partner, you're most likely going to find out that your partner's not going to want to be intimate with you very often. So it's a very important thing to make sure you've ticked off all your partner's needs. If you want to be intimate, I mean, it's a simple thing. If it's not that important to you, then don't do it. But if being intimate with your partner and having consistent passion in your relationship, then you've got to sort of lose the selfishness, so to speak.
And so, from this video, even if you could just, sit with your partner, both of you get a pen and paper, write down what each other's 5 basic needs are, and spend the next week at least meeting one of those needs a day. And if you're having trouble meeting those needs because of whatever reason, perhaps the resentment or, the passion's completely gone in the relationship and there's an awkwardness there and you just don't know how to rekindle that flame, this is a time for you to communicate that with your partner. And if you can't do that one-on-one because, the relationship is sort of not in a very good place, find someone that you can work with as a couple. So it's a really good exercise because you can actually, when you see it on paper, you can see, okay, so, my husband's needs are, blah, 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 and my wife's needs are, whatever they are, and then you can sit with each other and talk about it, and then talk about why you haven't been able to meet them. It's a good conversation starter, but, if you can just do at least meet one of those needs a day for the next week, you're going to start to sort of reconnect with your partner and hopefully take it to a new level. So I hope this has helped you guys in some way. And so if you have any questions that you want answered, send us a message and we'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.